What's going on, Crimson Tide fans? Alabama might have got some sneaky good news after the SEC dropped their availability report for this game against Georgia this weekend. Jah-Marien Latham is going to be out for this game. Don't know exactly how long he's going to be dealing with that neck injury. Jeremiah Beaman, obviously out for the season. Danny Lewis Jr. listed as probable, and Tim Keenan also listed as probable for this game against the Georgia Bulldogs. First things first, Jam Miller wasn't listed on the availability report at all, so that is very, very good news. Tim Keenan being listed as probable. I still wouldn't expect him to get a full workload for this game. I'm sure you're still going to see some, rotation with London Simmons out there, but getting Tim Keenan back is going to be huge for Alabama's run defense. The sneaky good injury news, though, is on Danny Lewis Jr. He was listed as probable for this game, and that's really good because he has not played so far in this 2025 season, was dealing with injuries for a lot of last year, started dealing with some injuries again during fall camp as well. But this could be big for Alabama's offense, especially in the run game. You're already getting back an upgrade at that running back spot with Jam Miller coming back. Now there's a chance you get an additional blocker at that tight end spot. I think that could be a really, really big deal. You've been playing true freshman Caleb Edwards out there, and, he's gotten a lot of the playing time as that extra blocker at that tight end spot so far this season, and I do think he's done an okay job out there, but I think just getting a veteran player like Danny Lewis Jr. in there, he's mostly been a blocking tight end for these, different Alabama offenses, from the Nick Saban offense now to the Kalen DeBoer offense. I think that could be key to Alabama really going off in the run game against Georgia. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. Our next goal here on the channel, 29,000 subscribers, and I think we can get there before our watch party this weekend. So help me out. Make sure you guys hit that sub button and join us for our watch party this weekend for Alabama versus Georgia. We're also going to be giving away an Alabama jersey. We've got daily videos. We've got watch parties every single week. So hit that sub button and stay up to date on all things Crimson Tide news. All right, next up on today's show, taking a look at the Georgia availability report. And one thing really does stick out to me on this, and that is Earnest Greene, one of their starting offensive tackles. He's listed as doubtful for this game. Greene has played left tackle for Georgia over the past 2 seasons. Georgia ended up switching him over to right tackle this year, so Monroe Freely could play that left tackle spot, but they haven't really figured out who is supposed to be the main guy over there at right tackle. They have played a total of 8 guys at the right tackle spot. Now, there's a little bit of caveat there. 4 of those guys have actually played more than 25 snaps. A couple other guys have played either 1 snap or they were just, it was Freeling who ended up going from that left tackle spot to the right tackle spot just for 1 play there. But you see the 4 main guys here. There's just been a ton of rotation at that right tackle spot for Georgia. So I think that could be really big for Alabama. If you're going to be able to take advantage of this Georgia offensive line, it's something that, Georgia usually has a pretty good offensive line. I don't know who is going to end up playing that right tackle spot for him. I would assume it's either going to be Bo Hewley or Michael Uini. I think that's how you pronounce his name there. I think it's probably going to be one of those 2 guys if Earnest Greene cannot end up going. But, that could mean for a really big day for some of these Alabama defensive linemen and some of those Wolf guys as well that we'll talk about here in just a second. But I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's video. Name an Alabama player that you think will get a sack or even multiple sacks against Georgia this weekend. Let me know. Drop a player's name down in the comment section of today's show at the pinned comment of today's video. A couple players that really stick out to me outside of those interior guys, got to be LT Overton, right? He got in that sack column last week against Wisconsin, and it's just a feeling out process for him at this point right now. I still wonder about that Bandit 2 spot. Is it going to be Jordan Renaud? I would love to see a little bit more of Keon Keeley in there as well, especially with Tim Keenan coming back. He's not going to get that full snap load. Like I said earlier, you're still going to see some rotation in there with London Simmons. But I think having Keon Keeley in there, as another bandit, I think that could help Alabama. I think it's time that we see Keon Keeley, because as much as I like Jordan Renaud, he just hasn't really been a guy that has stuck out to me here in the first couple games of the season. Then you also have guys like Quay Russaw, Yanze Pierre as well at that Wolf spot. I think both of these guys have played okay so far this season, but still waiting on that breakout from Quay Russaw. Is it this game against Georgia when they have so many right tackles right now that have been playing that position? You have your main guy, Ernest Greene III. He's been banged up a lot this season, and he's listed as doubtful right now. So I'm very excited to see who can take advantage of that Georgia offensive line. All right, we'll come back with some Ty Simpson conversation and even some position battles here in just a second. But today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I use Prize Picks for a ton of different types of sporting events, whether it's professional football, baseball, basketball, college sports, MMA, and so much more. Prize Picks is a ton of fun, and if you guys know ball, you can win real money all season long on Prize Picks. This is the power play that we got cooked up for you guys this weekend, going with Jeremy Bernard, more than receiving yards. Jam Miller, pretty much an anytime touchdown there. He's got to get at least half a touchdown. Could be rushing, could be receiving. Fun fact, though, Jam Miller against Georgia has 2 receiving touchdowns on wheel routes. So going with a more than on that one, and then Zachariah Branch going with a more than on receiving yards for him as well. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money today. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 different states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and yes, Prize Picks is also available in Alabama as well. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link is down in the description of today's show. It's also going to be down at the pinned comment of today's show as well. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, could this be a breakout game for Ty Simpson? I think this is a massive opportunity for Ty Simpson to step up and really solidify himself as one of the top quarterbacks, not just in the SEC, but in the entire country as well. Kirby Smart at his press conference this week said that he was the hottest quarterback in college football over the last 2 weeks, and to be honest with you, he's pretty much right about that. You go back to that Florida State game, he wasn't great. 53% completion percentage. I think he was a little hesitant. He wanted to see guys wide open down the field before he ended up throwing the ball to them. Wasn't really playing with a lot of anticipation. It was his first start as an Alabama quarterback and a first start on the road in Tallahassee. That's tough, I think, for anybody to do, especially when Florida State went out there and they revamped their entire team. So you didn't really know exactly what you were working against there. Over the last 2 weeks, though, he's been absolutely insane, completing 89% of his passes over the last 2 weeks. He has looked more decisive. He's been throwing with some anticipation. Just overall, he looks more comfortable back there at that quarterback position. Now, to be fair, the level of competition against these two teams is not very good. ULM is ULM, and Wisconsin is, not one of the better teams this season in the Big Ten. Even versus, Florida State, where he didn't play very good. I thought Ty, he's still this season hasn't turned the ball over. Knock on wood that continues, against this game against Georgia. But, if Alabama can go to Georgia and play a clean game, Ty Simpson might vault himself into that Heisman conversation, because Kirby Smart is right. Over the past 2 weeks, Ty Simpson has been one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in college football. So let's just stick to the SEC here. I want you guys to get down to the comment section and rank Ty Simpson amongst quarterbacks in the SEC. 16 teams in the SEC. Let me know where he ranks 1 to 16. Now, before we get out of here, there might still be a position battle at that right tackle spot. Freshman Michael Carroll has continued to get snaps over the past 2 weeks at that right tackle spot. Versus Louisiana Monroe, he played 30 snaps. Against Wisconsin, he played 18 snaps. So I just wonder, against Georgia, is this going to be a game where Michael Carroll continues to get extra snaps? It honestly makes me a little bit nervous just because, you are going against tougher competition and SEC competition at that. Throwing a true freshman in there, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It always does make me very nervous, but at the end of the day, I just want the best player to play. I want the best 5 guys out there. You might even see some rotation at that right guard spot as well, with Jaden Roberts continuing to get a little bit more healthy as well. But, when you talk about Wilkin Formby, he's a guy that, I don't think he's played awful by any means this season, but he definitely hasn't taken that next step that I really thought and hoped that we were going to see from him this year. Does have one penalty as well that he had against Florida State. Hasn't given up any sacks, but still, when you're constantly going out there and, you're getting those, he's given up 7 hurries so far this year, not really doing the best job run blocking either. I wonder if Michael Carroll is just going to get more snaps this week against Georgia. I think that is a legitimate thing to ask for this game. A couple weeks ago, after that Louisiana-Monroe game, Ryan Grubb was asked, hey, is there a battle at this right tackle spot? And at the time, I thought this was just kind of coach speak, but I think it might be more of a legitimate thing. Ryan Grubb saying, 100% I see that as a competition. All of these guys are competing for spots. I thought Michael did a good job. There were some things that he certainly needs to clean up. The thing that I like about Michael is he does compete. What you saw on the field in the game is how Michael practices too. He is super competitive. He's a physical kid that did a really nice job for the first time. So I wonder, I do think this is a big question mark for Alabama's offensive line right now. So I want to hear from you guys one more time down inside the comment section. Pick a right tackle for me. Type F if you think it's Wilkin Formby, or type C if you want to see Michael Carroll go out there and get some more snaps this week against Georgia.